Imagine holding in your hand a simple copper coin the size of a small button. Yet behind that small piece of metal lies centuries of heritage, artistry, politics, and the story of a nation. This is the 2-pence coin. And in this episode, we turn our focus to the 2001 2-pence, a coin that at first glance might seem ordinary, but when we peel back the layers, it becomes a window into British monetary history, royal traditions, and the evolution of currency in the modern age. Now let us step back in time to understand how this coin came to exist, why it looks the way it does, and what its 2001 mintage means for collectors, historians, and everyday people who may have carried it in their pockets without ever realizing its importance. The 2-pence coin was first introduced in 1971 as part of the decimalisation of British currency, a monumental change that reshaped the financial system of the United Kingdom. Before decimalisation, the British monetary system was based on pounds, shillings, and pence, a complicated structure that dated back to medieval times, and for centuries, it worked as a standard, but by the 20th century, it had become increasingly outdated. Decimalisation sought to simplify the system by creating 100 new pence to equal £1, and as part of that new range of coins, the 2-pence was born. The earliest 2-pence coins were minted in bronze and bore the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machen, who was one of the most respected sculptors of his era. His portrait of the young queen with a tiara became one of the most recognized images in the world, appearing not just on coins but on postage stamps across Britain and the Commonwealth. By 1998, however, the design of the Queen's portrait on the coin was updated to a new effigy by sculptor Ian Rank Broadley. His version of Queen Elizabeth was more realistic and less idealized, showing the monarch in a mature form with greater detail. And this is the portrait that appears on the 2-pence coins minted in 2001. So when you hold a 2001 2-pence coin, you are not just seeing a date. You are seeing the continuity of the monarchy reflected in changing artistic interpretations of the Queen herself. On the reverse of the coin, you find the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers within a coronet above a ribbon that bears the German motto Ich diene, meaning I serve. This emblem has a deep history. It has been associated with the Prince of Wales for centuries and became a strong heraldic symbol representing loyalty and service. The designer of this reverse side was Christopher Ironside, a master of coin art who worked extensively on the decimal series. The 2001 2-pence coin continued to be struck in copper-plated steel rather than bronze. This change had taken place in 1992, when the Royal Mint decided to switch to a more cost-efficient metal composition, as the price of copper had risen significantly, and it was no longer economical to produce coins from solid bronze. The plated steel coins looked the same, but had the magnetic properties of steel, which meant that vending machines and coin detectors needed to adjust to accommodate the change. For collectors, the composition shift is an important milestone because it creates 2 distinct eras of 2-pence coins: the pre-1992 bronze issues and the post-1992 copper-plated steel issues. The 2001 mintage firmly belongs to the latter. In terms of circulation, the 2001 2-pence was produced in large numbers by the Royal Mint. Millions entered daily use across the United Kingdom, which means that in everyday commerce, the coin was not rare, but that does not mean it lacks significance for historians. The 2001 issue represents stability at a time when Britain was experiencing both social and political transformation. The late 1990s and early 2000s were years of global change. The rise of technology, the strengthening of the European Union, and debates within Britain about its role in the wider world. Yet, amid all of this change, the 2-pence coin remained a constant, a familiar piece of metal in the hands of citizens, reminding them of continuity, tradition, and identity. Design of the 2-pence coin remained unchanged throughout these years, until the major redesign of 2008, when the Royal Mint launched a new series that showcased different parts of the royal arms spread across multiple denominations. Therefore, the 2001 2-pence stands as one of the last years in which the original Christopher Ironside design dominated circulation uninterrupted for decades. making it part of an unbroken lineage of design stretching from 1971 to 2008. For numismatists, that gives the coin a special place, because it captures a period just before modern change swept through coinage. Mintage figures themselves are also worth examining. While the Royal Mint has always released coins in high numbers to meet public demand, the exact quantities produced in each year can influence rarity and collector value. The 2001 2p saw a million struck for circulation, but small numbers were also issued in proof sets and brilliant uncirculated sets. These specially produced coins were created for collectors, featuring sharper detail and higher quality finishes than those found in everyday pocket change. To collectors, the proof and mint set versions of the 2001 2p are especially desirable because they represent the coin at its finest quality and are preserved in perfect condition, unlike the heavily circulated coins that passed from hand to hand in shops, pubs, and marketplaces. The 2p coin has always been more than just money. It has been part of childhood games, savings jars, traditions of tipping, and even superstitions across Britain. Finding a 2p on the ground was often seen as a small sign of luck. Children would save them up in piggy banks, and families often gave small amounts of 2p coins to young relatives as pocket money. In seaside towns, 2p coins remain the currency of arcade machines, where generations of children and adults alike have played the coin pushers, a game that continues even today in British holiday culture. So the 2001 2p is not just a date. It is part of a living tradition tied to everyday experience. When examining the design, artistry, and material of the coin, we see that every element carries a story. The portrait of Queen Elizabeth II reflects the monarchy and its evolution. The heraldic symbol of the Prince of Wales ties back to centuries of royal tradition. The change from bronze to copper-plated steel speaks to economic pressures and technological adjustments in minting, and the continued use of the coin in public life shows us how deeply money is interwoven with social identity and cultural memory. The 2001 coin becomes a snapshot of all these themes combined, a small artifact that mirrors a nation's past and its ongoing journey into the future. For a collector, holding a 2001 2p can be a way of holding a piece of history in miniature. Some collectors focus on completing entire date runs of 2p coins from 1971 to the present day, while others concentrate on the subtle variations such as mint errors, die rotations, or striking anomalies. Occasionally, coins are struck off-center or feature doubled lettering. These errors, though rare, can make an ordinary 2p far more valuable than its face value of 2p. Searching for these treasures in circulation has always been a hobby for dedicated enthusiasts who see coins not just as currency, but as hidden gems waiting to be discovered. We explore the full story of the 2001 2p. We come to appreciate that its importance is not limited to rarity or monetary value, but to the broader role it plays as a cultural marker. Coins are among the few objects that travel across every layer of society, from the pockets of the wealthy to the hands of children. From city centers to rural villages, they tell stories of leadership, economy, art, and collective identity. The 2001 2p coin embodies all of these aspects, making it not just a coin, but a tangible reminder of where Britain has been and where it is going. Imagine holding a small copper coin that many overlook in daily transactions, yet it carries within it a story that reaches deep into the history of British coinage and the legacy of a nation's monetary tradition. This is the 2006 2p coin. A piece that at first glance seems ordinary, yet in truth, it represents a fascinating blend of history, design, economy, and numismatic evolution. To understand this coin in its entirety, we must begin not in 2006, but decades earlier, with the introduction of the decimal system in the United Kingdom, when the government made the monumental decision to replace the centuries-old system of pounds, shillings, and pence with a modernized decimal currency. This transition took place in 1971, known as Decimal Day. When the 2p coin first came into circulation, the 2p was designed larger than most circulating coins, and carried with it the now iconic badge of the Prince of Wales, featuring a plume of 3 ostrich feathers emerging from a coronet with a ribbon inscribed with the German motto Stehen, meaning I serve, a design chosen to symbolize heritage and royal duty, and the inscription New Pence clearly marked this fresh start in the decimal age. For over a decade, the coin remained unchanged until 1982, when the inscription was altered from New Pence to 2 pence, signaling that decimal currency had been fully embraced and no longer required the label Newbie 2006. This coin had a long-established role in the pockets, purses, and tills of millions of Britons. It was struck at the Royal Mint in Llantrisant, South Wales, the heart of British coin production, and it continued to carry the familiar Prince of Wales feathers reverse, designed by Christopher Ironside, one of the most respected coin designers of the 20th century. His contribution to British numismatics was immense, and the 2 pence coin remained one of his most recognizable works. The obverse in 2006, or the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, the definitive coinage portrait created by Ian Rank Broadley, introduced in 1998 and used until 2015. This portrait depicted the Queen with a tiara facing right, rendered in a highly realistic style that captured more of her facial features than previous portraits. Rank Broadley's design was noted for its boldness and simplicity, with the initials ERB appearing just beneath the bust. The composition of the 2006 2 pence coin is also significant. Originally struck in bronze until 1992, by the early 1990s, the Royal Mint made the shift to copper-plated steel as a cost-saving measure, since the price of copper had risen considerably. The 2006 examples, therefore, are composed of steel with a thin copper coating, which gives the coin its traditional reddish color but allows it to be magnetic, unlike the pre-1992 bronze coins. This difference makes the 2006 coins part of the more modern production era, and this change itself is a fascinating marker of economic adaptation, as the Royal Mint balanced tradition with practical necessity. Mintage figures for the 2006 2 pence coin also deserve attention. In that year, the Royal Mint produced millions of them for circulation, as demand for small change remained steady. The 2 pence coin, although often regarded as a minor denomination, played a vital role in everyday commerce, used in vending machines, car parks, and countless small purchases across the United Kingdom. For collectors, the 2006 coin represents the later years of the traditional design before the major redesign of 2008, when the Royal Mint introduced the Royal Shield series, which transformed the appearance of nearly all circulating coins. The 2 pence of 2006 is therefore among the final years to carry the full traditional Prince of Wales feathers design, uninterrupted by the shield motif. This alone gives it a certain nostalgic value among collectors. Cultural place of the 2 pence coin in 2006 should also be considered. This coin was commonly used in arcades across Britain, particularly in seaside towns, where the famous penny pushers or coin push machines were a source of amusement. Generations of families associated the humble 2 pence with childhood memories, holidays, and simple entertainment. This cultural role extended the significance of the coin far beyond its small monetary value, turning it into a token of shared experience in British life. Another important dimension of the 2006 2 pence coin is the technological process of minting itself. By this period, the Royal Mint was employing highly advanced machinery to strike billions of coins with precision. Each coin passed through stages of blank preparation, annealing, plating, striking, and inspection before reaching circulation. The dies used for the 2006 issues would have been carefully engraved and polished, ensuring that every feather in the Prince of Wales badge and every detail of Queen Elizabeth's portrait was captured sharply and consistently. The minting process itself reflects a balance of industrial mass production with artistry and design integrity. Collectors studying the 2006 2 pence coin often look for errors or varieties as well. These can include off-center strikes, misaligned dies, double strikes, or plating anomalies. Although standard examples are common, such errors, when discovered, can dramatically increase a coin's desirability and value. This pursuit of varieties keeps numismatists engaged with coins that are otherwise considered ordinary, turning each pocket find into a small adventure in discovery. The historical legacy of the 2 pence denomination is also noteworthy. By 2006, it had become so established that its origin in the decimal changeover was nearly forgotten. Yet to numismatists and historians, the coin represented one of the pillars of the new system alongside the 1 penny, the 5 pence, and the 10 pence. Together, these denominations created a coherent decimal framework that simplified arithmetic and modernized the British economy. The 2 pence specifically filled an important role as a bridge between the 1 penny and the 5 pence, allowing for practical combinations in pricing and change, making the value of the 2006 2 pence coin in the collector's market today is typically modest given its high mintage. However, coins in uncirculated condition or brilliant and circulated sets from the Royal Mint hold higher value as they are preserved in pristine condition. The Royal Mint also issued annual sets in 2006, which included the 2 pence as part of a full circulating coin collection for that year. Collectors who focus on date runs, meaning a coin of every year, appreciate the 2006 as part of the uninterrupted sequence of decimal coinage since 1971. When we step back and reflect on the 2006 2 pence coin, we see that it is more than just a piece of change. It is the product of centuries of monetary history, it is a continuation of traditions in design and symbolism, it is a reflection of technological progress in minting. It is a snapshot of British culture in the mid-2000s, and it is a piece of the everyday lives of millions of people who handled it without giving it much thought. Yet for the collector, the historian, or the enthusiast, it becomes a story of continuity, adaptation, and meaning that stretches from the introduction of decimalization to the modern day, and even into the memory of countless individuals who recall the feel and sound of this coin. So, when you look at the 2006 2 pence coin, you are not merely looking at a small copper-colored disc, you are looking at a piece of history, coin that connects the reign of Queen Elizabeth II to the work of master engravers like Christopher Ironside and Ian Rank Broadley. A coin that bridges the transition from bronze to copper-plated steel, a coin that carries the symbol of the Prince of Wales and the motto "I serve", a coin that held its place in everyday life in Britain throughout the first decade of the 21st century.